My mama raised me proper, but I never thanked her for it. As a teen, I was too bitter blaming her for my dad's absence to even be grateful for it. She went through surgery after surgery. I wasn't there for it. I'm so embarrassed I ignored it. What a deadbeat son I was, behaving just like my father. That fool never bothered. He just planted me, then abandoned us to go be with his actual family. He'd visit occasionally, mainly when his parents were in town, reminding him I existed. He never gave me much except for these mixtapes he made at the record store that he owned. He wouldn't give me the actual music. I wasn't worth the originals to him. One evening, about a week after my 7th birthday, he came to get me from my mama's house while she was at her second job. Because a single mother with a broken heart in a third world country still has a family to feed, and this coward wasn't man enough to tend to our needs. But on this evening, he came to get me, took me to an abandoned apartment, opened up the door to a dark room, and said, "Happy birthday." There was a mountain of used clothes on the floor, and he said, "Take whatever you want." Feliz cumpleaños? There I was, 7 years of innocence in my eyes, a lifetime of heartache in my soul, pieces of my mother's heart broken from his indifference and my aloofness piled up on top of each other on the floor. The rest of that evening was a blur. I didn't take anything. Because even as a young child, my emotional intelligence was fully developed. I knew my worth. And my worth was worth much more than these sporadic moments of attention he reluctantly brought forth. So at the tender age of 7, I accepted I no longer had a father. Buried the weight of anger and abandonment many young men carried deep in our souls and blamed it all on my mother. My poor, hardworking mother. As if the absence of one parent is to be blamed on the parent who actually stayed by your side. These words had to be written and spoken for every child out there confused in the wild, wondering why his daddy don't love him no more, or why he never did. And yes, I know that there's two sides to every story, but I carry my mother's last name because she's the only parent who ever did anything for me. You see, I matured at last, made amends with my mother, became friends with my mother, regained health with my mother. Now I am a man who's full grown. Became a warrior from all of these wounds that this drama had brought me. Became a man and father figure to many from the lessons that my mama has taught me. One day it struck me. As a child, I suffered, but she suffered with me. All she ever wanted was to uplift me. She had to be the man and woman of the house in a misogyny society that labeled an unwed mother a whore and deemed her to be worthless, just like the clothes piled up on that floor. My mother had to do it all. Raise this ungrateful son through it all. Heal our broken hearts through it all. Become a refugee through it all. She could have thrown it all away, but our love is golden now. We made it through the 7th inning, smiles unfolding now. Thank you, Mama. We are healing. The child you raised is raising others now.